good controversy to kick it off. So let's pre-frame this for anyone that's been living under a rock. We shouldn't say that. People could be busy with work and things like that. Could be sick.
Could be
sick.
Yeah.
So for anyone that doesn't know what's happened, pre-frame this whole scenario from Saturday to now.
Yeah. So obviously, Giga Kick was first up on the weekend in the McEwen Stakes there at Moonee Valley, and I suppose after he missed the start, Craig Williams, who's ridden him absolute peach in a number of starts to win an Everest, to win an All Age, to win a 10,000, he got busy on him and put him into the race. And the sectionals, they were quick from the 800 to the 400. I don't know off the top of my head, but they were, like 10 second splits. So going quite quick to make a bit of a mid-race move over the 1,000. And he obviously inevitably got beaten by Imperatriz, who was just dynamic.
Electric.
She was super, and I suppose made the run of Giga Kick probably look worse than maybe what it was. Like if you take Imperatriz out, he's in a photo finish with Rothfire in that race, even after making that split. So that was how the race panned out.
Giga Kick jumped at $1.85 or something.
He got out late. He got out to about $2.20, I think was
right.
Might have been starting price at some places. So a few mounting yard experts saying he was fat and he needed the run. So maybe connections weren't expecting him to be there to win. But when you're Craig Williams, you're on the back of the second highest rated sprinter in the country.
Yeah.
You're sent out as a short price favourite. You're expected to win by the punters.
Yeah.
You miss the kick. Blake, if you had have backed Giga Kick on the weekend and you saw him miss the kick, would you have rather Craig neck him, go back to last and just work home and maybe run a nice second, or would you have liked to have seen him do what he did, put the horse into the race and try to win, which, as per the rules of racing, you've got to try and win the races that you're in?
First of all, Nick, I wouldn't have backed Giga Kick on Saturday. I don't think that Craig Williams should be concerned about the punters. Like, I know that a lot of people took short odds, but wow, this isn't grand final day. It's worth 300,000. It's just it can ruin your whole preparation. If he gets to the bottom of this horse, and from looking at the sectionals, I don't think it has, because he had a similar first up run last preparation where he missed the start and he had a massive last 800 metres, and it didn't ruin his preparation there. So I don't think it has, and I do think it's a big overreaction. But if Clayton's told him, just get back and let the horse run on. Like, if it just depends what he was told prior to the race.
Yeah.
But I don't think you want to be putting your horse into a race just to win the race.
Yeah.
Like a grand final day is worth 20 million. This race is worth 300,000. So you got big fish to fry in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Month's time or whenever the Everest is. And I don't think you want to use your carrots all first up. I don't think you would beat the winner anyway.
No,
I
think you could have run the race 50 times and get a similar result every time, the way that Imperatriz, those late splits, like she's run a track record. She's beaten Nature Strip's 1,000-metre track record at the Valley. So it's a fair effort to do that. I don't think would have turned the tables. Connections have come out and said he was given a gut buster.
So continue down that path.
Yeah.
What's the reaction to that now?
Yes. So Rocket Douglas, who is Clayton Douglas's uncle, he's the manager of Pine Cliff Racing, that's those red and white silks.
He's the syndicate manager for
Giga Kick, Jonathan Munns, those horses.
Yep.
So he came out on Radio Tab with Steve Hewlett on Wednesday morning, and that's where he came out and said, he could have strangled Craig on the track in the mounting yard after that ride. It was inexcusable. The horse has been given a gut buster. I'm assuming the horse hasn't pulled up well, and that's why, say, Sunday and Monday, that this is all really blown up, right? Because the way that Rod Douglas spoke was that the plan was always 3 weeks from the McEwen into the Premier, which is the final lead up to the Everest.
Yeah.
It's 1200 Randwick on Epsom Day, and then obviously then another 2 weeks to the Everest. So now it looks like potentially may not run in that Premier, might be back to the trials, and then there'll be 5 weeks between runs into an Everest. So I'm assuming that this is sort of just my thoughts on the race, is that the horse hasn't pulled up well. It wasn't fit enough to go first up.
Well, it sounds like that, doesn't it?
And maybe poor old Craig has just been used as a bit of a scapegoat for, I don't want to say it, but trainer error.
Who knows? I would say, like, looking at the data, last preparation he was 119 days between runs, big squeeze between the 8 and 400, big sectional between the 4 and 2, and a slight drop-off over the concluding stages. That's basically exactly what has happened here. Yep. It was 119 days between runs, big sectional between the 8 and 400. There was definitely a greater drop-off over the last 400 metres than there was first up last preparation. But given the fact that the horse has potentially pulled up poorly, maybe they just wanted to see him really finding the line over that last 200 metres and not get it to the bottom of him, because he's going to have that extra run. And you would say, like Imperatriz, she wasn't asked for an effort until 600 metres from home. This horse was asked for his effort much before then, between probably 800. So she hasn't had a gut buster. He has. They're going to miss that run. It sort of just ruins the preparation for him. So,
away from that, the optics of a syndicate manager coming out saying he's going to physically assault one of our best jockeys in the country is pathetic, in my opinion. I think...
who is also, this same jockey has ridden your horse, an absolute peach, to win almost 10 million in prize money.
I think 3 Group 1s or 2 Group 1s.
2 Group 1s in an Everest.
So I think what's happened here is emotion has got the better of Rod Douglas. I think you're right, it hasn't pulled up right. And I didn't know anything about kind of reports in the mounting yard that it was a bit, might not have been in the greatest condition, but I don't really care. I think there should be some sort of integrity's gone out the window here because of emotion. And to say that, like you talk to most jockeys, they will cop messages of abuse nearly every weekend from punters saying, oh, you lost on this, go kill yourself, go do this. If I see you, I'll bash you. Like you ask most jockeys, they get that. For a syndication manager to come out or someone, firstly, he doesn't make the decisions on who he can talk to them and decide how to manage the horse and manage the syndication. But he doesn't sit there and say, Craig will not ride Giga Kick ever again. So I don't know why he's gone from such a height of emotion to say, I want to physically assault this jockey based on how he rode that horse when it's not his decision to make. And even if it's his decision to make, he shouldn't be saying it. I think this has been overlooked a little bit, and the optics of the dialogue used here is really, really bad.
Yeah.
Really, really bad.
That's
what he should come out and issue an apology, without a doubt. Without a doubt. There's no way that he should be able to go to... Because Rod Douglas has also come out and whacked RV as well about their new ideas for, summer series, no whip series, things like that. If you are at a point where you think your opinion should matter enough to the public that you're whacking Racing Victoria... You can't then come out on the other hand and say you're going to physically assault someone.
Racing Victoria deserve to get whacked for their whip series ideas. That is ridiculous.
I agree, but that doesn't take away from the fact that
what did he say? Did he say, I wanted to strangle him?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to strangle a couple of jockeys yesterday.
It doesn't matter, Blake. Like you're not on a national radio station saying that about a jockey. Yeah. About the jockey on probably the most popular horse in Australia right now.
Yeah. His direct quote was, I'd have strangled him at Moonee Valley. I'd have strangled him with my bare hands. I'd have strangled him in the mounting yard. There's no excuse for what he did. Like, I listened to it live yesterday, heard that, and sort of went, "Holy shit!" Like you can't say that, and
you can't say that,
and like Steve Hewlett is a great professional at what he does with interviewing, but even he sort of just skipped over that. It's like, hang on, aren't we going to pull him up here for saying that? And
the Big Sports Breakfast went to Steve this morning to say about those comments, and Steve once again skipped over it as well because they're the wrong comments.
Yeah,
absolutely. If there's three of us sitting at the pub and you sit there and go, oh, God, however you want to talk with each other and say, I could have killed that jockey, should have made that move then or whatever, that's your own prerogative. But to do it on a national radio station from a position where you are a syndications manager or whatever he wants, racing
one
manager.
of the best horses in the country as well. 100%. It's not you're not a syndicate manager.
Without a doubt, it is inexcusable.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think that, and to Craig Williams, his response, and Craig is the ultimate professional.
He is a walking, what's the word? Like a walking advertisement advocator for the sport. He's the greatest ambassador, I think, for racing. Craig Williams, the way he talks, the way he gives time to the media, and
he deserves even so much better than what he cops with that, because that's absolute bullshit to do that.
Yeah, correct. I don't know if he...
And look, manage him off, put someone else on. The fact that to add to this and just to show that like all professionalism went out the window during that interview, for him to then turn around and say every jockey's picked up the phone to say, I want this ride, Zach's calling from Hong Kong, Nash is doing this. That's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, potentially.
Like, and for you to say that, like, it's just, I think when people have, a position where they can talk nationally on something, and then everyone in Australia would have been keen to see Craig's reaction, and once again, he just handled it with complete professionalism and just said, okay,
Yep. Said, I don't pay any attention to the publications, the media. Yeah. He said, I haven't heard anything from Jonathan Munns as far as I know. I'm riding the horse until I hear otherwise. So that's Craig's response. I will say though, I think it probably comes down to classic journalism as well. So Ben Dorries is the first to come out. He was on the trek to the Everest on, I think, Monday or Tuesday night, and he's come out with the bold claim that he'll swim to Argentina if Craig Williams is riding Giga Kick in the Everest. So is that just like I personally think that from just that interview, from Ben wanting to be the one to come out and break the story, which that's your job as a journalist, especially high profile journalist, but I feel like that's almost blown everything out of the water, because at that point I'm assuming Craig obviously hasn't heard anything from connections about not getting the ride, and then everyone's grabbed a hold of it and made a big deal out of it just because.
Unfortunately, we are in an industry, there's only a certain... The 24-hour news cycle is so jam-packed with everything now that this is something that for people to hang on to. And even for us to have our opinion on a Thursday, if this happened on Monday, we'd probably have a little bit of a touch on it, but the fact that it's kind of in the last 24 hours. But I think the ride and everything, you guys can have your professional opinion and what the data says and things like that. And Ben Dorries, even to say, I'll swim to Argentina if he's on that's fine. That's opinion. That's great. But we're overlooking the fact that the vocab used here was not right. Yeah. And I don't know what happens next. I think Craig Williams handled himself well, as I mentioned before, but I think there'd be a real statement made, and if they were to put another jockey on board, it has to be a Zach or a J-Mac, really, because you've really kind of got to go to the top tier if you're going to absolutely shit on Willow.
Yeah. Are we being a little bit soft? Like, it should be water off a duck's back for Willow. Like,
I think it is.
Yeah. And which is great. Like, he's handling it perfectly. But if you've got 20 million on the line, which could be in the trash now, he might not even get to the race. Who knows? Like, if he's pulled up that sore or whatever, he hasn't pulled up well. Like, he might not get to the race. Like, 20 million and you're invested in this horse. Like,
you can't say you're going to strangle something.
Obviously, like, for example, if you're like coaching a footy side or something like that, and your halfback throws an intercept pass and you go, fuck, I would have strangled him if I could have got hold of him at that point. Like, it's not like you're a punter and you're having your $50 or $100 on. These guys are like, it's a trainer. I know that Clayton's the trainer, but like if a trainer says that, that's their livelihood. It's very different to a punter. It's
Craig's livelihood too.
Yeah, I know that.
Like it's both sides of it. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be as emotional as he was. I'm not saying to keep his emotions in check, other than when you're doing a national a national interview, for you to say that. I think there's got to be a level that you can't say. Like, I'm not sure where the line's drawn, but I guarantee you the line should be drawn before you're saying that you're going to strangle a jockey.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.